I once walked into a professional mixer, a big one, and left without having a real conversation with a single person. I had no anchor. I knew what I wanted to get out of the room. I hadn't thought for 1 minute about what I was bringing into it. That's a small difference that turns out to matter a lot. Stick around. Across my career, one pattern keeps showing up. People skills shape long-term success. I've seen it in high-stakes technical work, leadership, business, and family life. This channel is about solving the people puzzle. Most networking advice focuses on what to do when you get to the event. The opener, the handshake, the elevator pitch. How to exit a conversation without being rude about it. I want to go earlier than that. I want to talk about 2 minutes before you walk in. Because how you show up in a networking room is almost entirely determined by what question you are asking on the drive over. Most people are asking, what can I get out of this? Today I want to flip it. 3 stories about what changes when you do. I walked into a professional mixer once with no plan. Large event, plenty of people. I walked in with a general sense of wanting to make connections, find some opportunities, see who was there. I hadn't thought about what I was bringing. So every potential conversation felt like I was about to ask someone for something. Every approach felt like an extraction. I got socially overwhelmed and stalled out completely, left early. Not because the room was unfriendly, because I had nothing to anchor to. When you have nothing to offer, approaching anyone feels predatory, even to yourself. The discomfort isn't always shyness. Sometimes it's the absence of a reason to be there for anyone else. You can feel when you're in a take-only mode, and it stops you before you even start. A different event, this one I prepped for. My organization had an unusual structure, genuinely different from most of the companies in the room. Before I arrived, I spent about 10 minutes putting together clear descriptions of what we actually were and what my specific role within it was. I knew what made us different. I knew what problems we were trying to solve that most others in the room probably weren't. The whole dynamic shifted. I could describe my organization's needs clearly and specifically. I could spot people who were actually relevant to where we were going. I left with connections that matched, real conversations that went somewhere, not just a stack of cards and a hope. The prep wasn't about having more confidence. It was about having something concrete to give. When you walk in, knowing what you're offering, conversations have a different direction. People understand why you're talking to them. The right ones self-select and you stop wasting each other's time. There was a moment, a few years back, where I realized I'd spent years not fully seeing what I specifically brought that other people in the room didn't. I came up through the military before moving into a technical career and eventually into leadership and coaching. Most of the people I work alongside of came up through the corporate tracks. And it took me longer than it should have to see that my military experience gave me a genuinely different frame on what team building actually requires, on what leadership looks like under real pressure, on what holds people together when the stakes are high. The things that felt obvious to me because I'd lived them weren't obvious to people who hadn't. That difference was value. I just hadn't thought to inventory it. Most of us have a version of this. For technical professionals especially, most of you have spent so long around other technical people that your skills feel ordinary. They're not. The problem-solving discipline you develop in a technical field, breaking down complex systems, reasoning through ambiguity, finding the leverage point in a messy situation, that transfers outside your field. Most people in most rooms have never had to think that way. That's something you bring. Finding it isn't an ego exercise. It's just honest preparation. What's most obvious to you is often invisible to you because it's so close. Here's a 2-minute ritual. Before your next networking situation, before you walk through the door, answer 3 questions. 1. What do I know that this group might not? 2. Who do I know who might be useful to someone in this room? 3. What specific help could I use if someone offers to help? One sentence for each. That's it. 2 minutes. This won't cure networking anxiety. That's its own problem. But it removes the "why am I even here" feeling. You walk in as someone with something to offer, not just someone looking to take. That changes every conversation before it even starts. If this landed, I've got more videos on networking skills for people who find the whole thing uncomfortable, and also videos on other social skills to help out technical professionals. Hit subscribe and check out the next video on the screen. If you'd like to get this kind of thinking delivered to you, I have a newsletter called Thoughts from the Corner. Same focus: communication, productivity, and people skills for technical professionals. The sign-up link is in the description.